You're watching AmericanOutdoors.net.
Hi, and welcome to AmericanOutdoors.net. This is part of a series that I'm doing discussing the cost and the efficiency of heating your home with wood versus propane, electric, and oil. And today's segment is going to be on electric. Now, depending on where you live and your utility rates, costs can vary greatly. And weather is never a predictor, and you need to keep that in consideration as you follow along, take some notes, and listen to some numbers that I'm going to give you. Heating with wood is a lifestyle, and generally it's reflective of the individual. So it takes about 20 BTUs to heat a single square foot of living area. Now, of course, that number is based on a moderate to warm climate. If you're in the far northern parts of the United States and you're in an old drafty farmhouse, that number may climb to 30, 40, or 50 BTUs for that same area. A quart of firewood is about 128 cubic feet stacked. That same quart of firewood will create about 3,700 kilowatt hours of electricity. It'll also create about 25 million BTUs of heat. A single piece of seasoned hardwood, bone dry, should create about 8,000 to 9,000 BTUs. But that's based on zero moisture content. You're not going to see that very much. That same piece of hardwood with about a 20% moisture content, which is typical for firewood, will create about 6,500 to 7,500 BTUs of heat. Moisture content robs the efficiency of your firewood, and it takes energy to boil off that water that's in your wood. Now, a wood stove, the typical run-of-the-mill everyday wood stove, is going to be about 60 to 70% efficient. Now, that's at wide open operation, and several weeks ago we did a video on efficiencies of wood stoves, and I'll have a link posted at the end of this segment for you to follow. So what are some of the positive aspects to heating your home with wood? Well, number one, it's cheap, it's affordable, and you as the owner have control over your investment. You can dictate how much you pay for your product, whether you are paying to have it cut and delivered, or whether you cut some of it or all of it yourself. Number two, it's renewable. It's a radiant heat. It's very comfortable. There's a lot of charm to having a wood stove burning in your house in the middle of winter. And what about the negatives? Well, it requires physical work. You've got to carry the wood in. You got to cut it. You got to split it. You got to load it. You got to unload it. It's dirty. You're going to be carrying in loose bark, bugs, and debris. You're going to be cleaning up a lot because of the nature of firewood. It requires supervision. You may have to get up in the middle of a cold night, stoke that furnace back up. You're going to have to load it when you come home, when you get up in the morning. You might have to babysit a cold fire if you're having trouble with one. Insurance can be difficult, trying to find a carrier that's going to cover you, knowing that you're heating primarily with wood. So how about some of the positives for owning an electric forced air furnace? Well, they're 100% efficient. They do lose some heat during the transfer of air through the ducts to each individual room, but they create no carbon monoxide. They don't need to be vented. They're basically maintenance free. You set the thermostat, you walk away, change a furnace filter every month or two. A wood stove, when it comes to selling your house, if that's the sole source of heat, that can be like a swimming pool or a corner lot. People either like them or they don't. Another positive to an electric furnace is you can tie a central air conditioning unit into that anytime you want. The ductwork should already be there and it's already set up and ready to go. So what are some of the negatives to electric heat? Well, some of this depends on your point of view. Coal, oil, and gas are used to create electricity. So depending on how you feel about fossil fuels, it's just a fact. Some folks will say that electric heat doesn't feel quite as comfortable as other forms of home heating. My personal opinion is it doesn't compare to a wood stove, which is a radiant heat going up, out to the side. It's a very deep, thorough heating when the stove is operating properly. The installation to an electric forced air furnace can be cheaper than a comparable forced gas forced air furnace. However, you may also look at that as like buying a cheap printer. You think you're saving money up front, but it's the cost of the replacement ink cartridges that just kill you. Electricity is one of the, now electrical rates can vary greatly. However, electricity is one of the most expensive methods to heat your home per million BTUs out there on the market today. Your electrical cost can raise as much as 5% for every 1 degree that you raise your thermostat above 68. The same cannot be said for stoking up your wood stove. And I'm sure most of you are familiar with the story about the couples who fight over the thermostat and where to set it based on cost and based on comfort. The only complaints I've heard about a wood stove is that you have to open the doors and windows sometimes because it's too hot. And I've never heard that about an electric furnace. In my area, a typical forced air electric furnace installation will cost about $3,500 to $4,000. If I needed to replace this wood stove right behind me, I'm probably looking at $600 or so. If I'm new to using wood to heat my home and I need an entire system, building a chimney outside or cutting holes in my ceilings and my roof to do it inside, and flue pipes and all the hardware, I may have to spend upwards of $3,000. What I want to stress right now, though, is for you to know exactly what your electricity is costing you per kilowatt hour. And how you can find that out is take a look at your utility bill. Your utility company will furnish on that bill how much they're charging you per kilowatt hour. They'll also show you how many hours each month that you're using. So you can take that, multiply it by 12 months out of the year. That will give you your average hourly usage. However, there's a device on the market, and it's called a power digital monitor meter, which will isolate your individual electrical devices in your home, and anything from a refrigerator, a microwave, a laptop, or your furnace. And it will help you understand just exactly how much electricity each device is using every month. Now, a side note about the non-ducted electric heating systems like the baseboard heat. In my opinion, those aren't the most effective means to heating your home. One of the biggest infiltration points for cold air into your house is through your windows, and that cold air will just sink and go down to the floor. And a lot of times those baseboard heaters aren't below your windows. What a lot of people do is they take these portable baseboard heaters, these portable heaters, little 1500 watt units, and they'll put them by their bed or their couch or their easy chair to keep warm. Well, what you can do is take those heaters and put them directly under the window. And as that cold air is coming through the window, the warm air rising off the heater will counteract that air. And it may help heat your house a little more effectively, or at least make you feel a little bit warmer. Using an example to try and help you understand a little bit more about electrical usage, let's say that you've got one of those portable baseboard heaters, the kind that are on wheels. You can find them at Walmart, Amazon, they're all over the place. People usually use those to kind of they'll put them in a family room or a bedroom to kind of take the edge off the chill. Now those are usually 1500 watts, which is equal to 1.5 kilowatt hours. So let's say that you have a baseboard heater or a small portable heater in your family room for 8 hours. The national average right now for electricity is about 12 cents kilowatt hour. In my area right now it's about 8.0849 or something like that. If you took 8 hours times 1.5 kilowatt hours, 8 hours times 1.5 kilowatt hours, that comes up to 12 kilowatt hours to run that baseboard heater all day. At 12 cents per kilowatt hour, the national average, that's going to cost you about $1.44 a day to run that heater. Where I'm at, it's about 97 cents. Now, if you're up in, say, Vermont, I believe Their electrical utility rates right now are about 20 cents. So you're looking at about $2.40 a day to run that same heater. My point is, though, is if you have 2 or 3 or 4 of those in your house and you use those to supplement your furnace, that can cost you an extra $120, $150 a month just in baseboard heat, not including the cost of already running your electric furnace. The cost to produce 1 million BTUs of heat using an electric furnace at 10 cents per kilowatt hour. Now that's 2 cents less than the national average of 12 cents. That's about 2 cents more than what I pay for electricity. At 10 cents per kilowatt hour, that million BTUs of heat will cost $29.31. To create that same 1 million BTUs of heat using firewood at $250 per cord is $17.36. So for the sake of discussion, let's say that you've got a home, it's 2,400 square feet. Your furnace should be using about 18,000 watts when it's running. And let's say it runs 4 hours a day. Your winter heating season is October to March, so 6 months. So if you're running at 4 hours a day, that's going to be 72 kilowatt hours. If your rate per kilowatt hour is 10 cents, that's going to be $7.20 a day to run your furnace. And that's going to come up to $219.02 for your monthly bill. And that's going to come out to a 6-month bill of about $1,314.12, I believe. Now that's for heat only. That's not counting any extra heaters you've got, your oven, your microwave, any other appliances that you're using in the house. That's heat only. And that's also for a weather-tight, well-sealed house. And to use the old gas mileage analogy, we've all went and shopped for cars and the sticker on the window says 30 miles per gallon. And we've never gotten any more than 22 miles per gallon out of that car. Well, of course, those figures were obtained in a perfect world scenario, and we don't all have tight homes, well weather sealed, and our furnaces all just don't run for 4 hours a day. So now let's look at it from the perspective of burning with wood. I go through about 2.5 cords of firewood every winter. But let's say I'm paying $250 for a cord and I use 3 cords. That's going to be $750 for my heating season. Let's say it's a cold winter and I burn 4 cords. That's $1,000 for my heating season. That's $1,000 if I paid somebody to deliver wood to me. If I cut my own wood, if I bring my own wood in, it's not $1,000. Just as there are initial costs to using an electric furnace, there are costs involved to setting up burning wood in your home, whether it's the stove and hardware or chainsaws, splitter, and the equipment that goes with that. Some people like to hunt deer for food. Other people like to buy their meat at Walmart. One may be cheaper and the other one's convenient. All right, so I've thrown a lot of numbers out there. If I've gone too fast, play it back, take notes. Feel free to ask me questions online. I hope this has been informative, and I hope if you're interested in more of these, you'll click on these links that I'm going to give you in just a minute for the ones that we've already done, and stay tuned or subscribe to our channel so you'll be ready when the next one comes out. Thanks for watching, folks. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.